Hi, welcome to Ken's Games Collection, and today I want to talk about Nintendo Switch. Two things that really bugged me, and the first one has to do with Nintendo's AAA titles. There's a lot of stuff that I want from Nintendo. I buy a lot of third-party stuff mainly because it's a hell of a lot cheaper than what Nintendo does. And you have to go back and look at the stuff that was released around the first 12 months of Nintendo Switch. The Mario Odyssey, the Mario Kart, some of the Pokemon games, there was Splatoon, all that sort of stuff, Breath of the Wild. Those games were released pretty much within the first 12 months of the Nintendo's life cycle. We have not seen those games drop in price at all. And even in fact, I've seen the games go up in price, which is crazy. And you look in EB Games stores here in Australia at those games, and they only sell for like $4 less than a brand new release of that same title. There's a lot of games I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for Luigi's Mansion 3 to drop, some of the Pokemon games to drop, all that sort of stuff that I've been waiting for, and it just doesn't seem to be happening. I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon, especially, we've had this global pandemic, and Nintendo stock has just risen during that. Everybody is stuck at home playing Switch games with a Nintendo Switch, and I even seen here in Australia the Switches were sold out for a few months before they were restocked. So I think that adds to why we're not seeing the earlier Switch stuff, the Nintendo first party Switch stuff, drop in price. Now, there was a Nintendo Select range on the Wii U and the Nintendo 3DS, which pretty much was some of their AAA titles released a few years earlier. They would go into this Select program where they were sold at maybe $29, $39 price point, which was great, and I had been waiting to see if that would happen with the Switch, but because they're just making a lot of money from the games, from selling the systems, they're on a good thing. And I think Mario Kart is still one of the best selling games even today. That's going back 4 years since it's been released, and pretty much Nintendo said that with the release of the Switch, they weren't going to sell it at a loss, which was interesting because when you go back and look at the history of consoles being released, I can remember from the early days of Nintendo, Sega, Microsoft, and even Sony, they would sell their consoles at a loss because they knew they wanted to get that user base in there to buy the software, and that's where you would make up the difference from the software sales if you were self-publishing like Nintendo and Sega used to do. They would sell their consoles at a loss, but they were making some good money from their software sales. So that's another factor to think about as well, because Nintendo, it's a very what they're doing is a marketing ploy. They know that the user base is just growing steadily and steadily, and I don't think we're going to see that range, the Select range, come out anytime soon, which is a shame because there's so many games I want to get. I keep buying a lot of the third-party games because they're a lot cheaper, and that's the main reason why. There's great games, but with Nintendo, we all know that Mario, Yoshi, Luigi, all those brands are going to sell, and they're not going to drop in price anytime soon. So they're kind of holding us at bay with that sort of thing. Now, another thing I want to talk about that really is getting to me, considering I'm a gamer, a game collector, I do prefer physical release games, although I do have an Xbox Series S, which is digital only. I've got Game Pass. It's that side of it's fun, but I do prefer owning the physical release of games. Now, I went on to Oz Game Shop, and there's other online stores as well where I see these Switch games selling for $14, $15, up to $20, and I think, wow, that's really cool. But when you look down at the bottom of the screen of the cart, it will say that it's code in box, and I'm seeing this happen more and more where they're selling the case, but when you open up, there's no physical game in there. It's just a card with the download code, and I don't know. It's just, to me, it really bugs me because of that fact. I'm a physical collector. it's kind of like we are heading down that path of digital only releases. We're seeing this with the both the PlayStation and the Xbox digital versions, and I think this to me is definitely the last generation of physical release media for the consoles, which is really sad. You know, I still can't, you know, I don't embrace digital, but with the Game Pass, it's really crazy because I got all these games. I got like 97 games on the Series S, which is great. All these games I probably would never play, and a lot of it is digital only. And I can see what they're doing, and you know they're trying to get us more and more involved with digital only releases. And I've tried to resist it. I really have, but with the Series S and the Game Pass, it's really hard. It really is hard to try and look at it and say, okay, this is digital, I know, but I really want the physical release. But some of these games are never going to get physical release. You know, your limited runs, your super rares, your IM 8 bits, they're never going to get this sort of stuff. And I've been playing some games I really enjoyed, and it's just really weird talking about this because of the fact that I have this collection behind me, and this is probably the last generation that we're going to have a physical media to collect for. Does that mean in the future we can go into a store and just buy the game case with the code inside? It just seems to be that way with some of this Nintendo stuff that I'm seeing. It's not none of the Nintendo release stuff. It's all the third-party titles, and some of them did get physical releases, and they disappeared from pretty much every website I've seen. And it's just the code and box stuff. So it's just, yeah, I don't know. To me, it's just crazy. But this is definitely the last generation of physical consoles, and it's just hard. I'm just looking behind me from the camera, just looking at my PlayStation 4 and 3 and all that sort of stuff, and it's just really hard to take in, I guess. But it's just the way it is, and there's nothing we can do about it, unfortunately, because it's just the way it's going to be.